Hey guys, welcome back to Dream Analytica. I've got another dream for you. This one is my own, and I really wanted to share this dream with you in order to teach you how to interpret and analyze your own dreams, and this gives you maybe an idea of how to go about it. Every dream is nuanced and unique to the individual, so you can take some of the examples that I'm going to share with you in how to interpret the symbols of your own dreams here. One of the most important aspects that you should know about interpreting the dream is not so much the interpretation and the association of the symbols and amplification. It's more about getting the message of the dream out. So that's what we're going to try to do here. And I'm going to go ahead and read my dream, and we'll analyze it bit by bit together to extract the overall essence or the message of the dream. So let's get into it. I was on a street late at night, far from anywhere familiar. I felt a bit lost, as one does when far from home. I found myself in an alleyway with another person nearby. I decided to head back, even though I knew it was too far to walk all the way. I retraced my steps, trying to remember where I had come from. I recognized some of the streets, but then a heavy wind began to blow, so strong that I could barely move forward against it. So that's the full dream, and we'll go over some of the symbols here. Really, what we want to try to do is try to extract the overall message. Here, we're going to see what my personal associations are in the dream. So I was on a street late at night, far from anywhere familiar. I mean, you can sort of fantasize of putting yourself in a dark alleyway at night, very far from anywhere familiar or far from home. What would that feel like? So you could say, psychologically speaking, I was feeling very lost. I was feeling very uncomfortable, very uncertain. Now, particularly for an introvert, specifically an introvert who has his sort of radius that he has become accustomed to, his comfort zone, that's what it feels like. It's sort of like standing outside your comfort zone and being in this very unpredictable, uncertain atmosphere. So I would associate that feeling of being lost with an alleyway. It's sort of like being in a maze as well. There's nothing like there's nothing to make you feel comfortable with. There's nothing familiar, and it's usually very dark, and there's a lot of unknown spaces, unknown corners where things can pop out. It's very mysterious, it's very uncertain. So that's what I was probably feeling during the day. I was unconsciously feeling very uncertain about some aspect of my life in terms of psychology. So I was psychologically feeling rather uncertain, and I decided to head back in the dream, even though I knew it was too far to walk all the way back. So there you have that feeling as well, where you're way too far from home, you're in this unknown place, and you can't go back. You can just psychologically feel that. What does that feel like? And my association to that is that it's feeling lost, it's feeling far from home, it's feeling very uncomfortable. I probably wanted to be cuddled up and caressed by the home or the motherly figure, if you want to call that, sort of being taken care of, probably wanting to rely on something, have something external to satisfy my laziness or my desire for certainty. And so as I retraced my steps, trying to remember where I had come from, I recognized some of the streets, but then a heavy wind began to blow, so strong that I could barely move. So here, I tried going back. So I wanted to go back home. So because I felt scared and uncertain, my first instinct is to want to go back home. But then a heavy wind blew. Now, to associate with that wind, we could say that it is some sort of spirit, like spirit of the wind, or divine intervention, if you would like to call it, where it's saying you can't go back home. You can't go back to comfort and security, because that's not the way forward. Life has to be faced forward. You have to face, particularly as a man, to face uncertainty. And that's what the dream is trying to tell me. It was my ego's desire to return back, following familiar paths to comfort. But the dream is saying, no, you can't go. We're blocking you. Whoever the wind was, like the wind was stopping me from going back, and it was like this giant headwind that I couldn't fight against. I couldn't move forward or backwards in the dream. So what is that dream trying to tell me? I mean, that's an incredible message if you get it. So wanting to regress back to a psychological state of comfort, of reliance, of dependency, or being pushed towards uncertainty and facing life head on. And life is uncertain. Carl Jung even clung to uncertainty till his very last days. What he mentioned about certainty and uncertainty is that a person who is certain about something is usually inflated. Certainty is inflation because you can never know about a thing, particularly regarding the future, because life itself is uncertain. The future itself is uncertain. There is no telling what will happen tomorrow. I think quite a few men, obviously including myself, want to regress to a location or place or time where space and time is the same thing, to be comfortable again. But there's no way of returning back to comfort because that's regression and you will die. Comfort is where men die. So you cannot go back. The wind is pushing me in the opposite direction. So psychologically speaking, there was a point during the day where I felt like I can't do this anymore. I can't go on. I want to go back. I want to be at home. I want to stay comfortable. I don't want to explore new territory. And by the way, there is another figure that I would associate with as my shadow, and probably an extrovert part of myself, which was actually with me exploring or moving forward inside those alleyways, the maze of the alleyway. And I would associate him with my extroverted counterpart. So he was probably trying to guide me to become more extroverted, in a sense that you sort of need to be extroverted to explore new territory, new ground. And the alleyway could be attributed to my psychological maze that I am exploring, and you could attribute that to the external world. But what I'm trying to say is I have to keep moving forward and face the uncertainty as a man, and my shadow, which is the extroverted part here, is going to help me get there. Although in the dream I didn't see that. But now that I've interpreted it and did a bit of active imagination, trying to imagine myself continuing on into the darkness, into the uncertainty, and facing it like a man, facing the uncertainty head on instead of cowering and wanting to go back down familiar paths to my left. I have to go right, face reality, face the future, face the uncertainty, and that I could do it because I have the support of my shadow, which would be an extroverted, or rather more specifically an ENTJ. So I can do it. I now know I can do it because I've had this dream. I can't go back, first and foremost because I don't know the way back. Second, there is a spirit of the wind pushing me in the opposite direction that literally says you cannot go back. So I don't really have a choice here. I have to go forward, and I have support from the wind itself and the shadow factor. So that to me is an incredibly powerful message, because I must have really been feeling very uncertain and wanting to give up during the day about some aspect of life, particularly my manhood or my personality, that I couldn't face these things. But the dream in fact says, no, you can, and you will. You have no choice. So that's the message. And that clicked for me. And that's the reason why I wanted to share this dream, is because it clicked and it gives me so much energy. And whenever I have something that gives me so much energy, I need to share it so that other people know how to experience that same energy as well, because it's so positive. And it all comes from your own psychology. There's so much wisdom in your dreams that you're missing out on every time you have a dream and you don't interpret. There's so much wisdom and you're letting it just slide and pass. Like, imagine the accumulation of wisdom that I have collected over the years, analyzing not just my own dreams, but the dreams of others who, by the way, have far more wisdom in their dreams than probably I do. It's just incredible the amount, and you need wisdom to live life properly. It is the secret. Wisdom is the secret to living life properly for both men and women. It is the key. For the woman, their animus needs wisdom. It's just so essential for the animus to be wise, and ultimately the fully developed animus in a woman is one of wisdom. Equally for men, our highest anima form is Sophia, who has divine wisdom. She's the fourth stage of development of our anima, and very few men achieve that state. We likened it to the Mona Lisa. But wisdom is so important, and every dream that you do not interpret, or that you do not at least try to understand, is a lost opportunity for that gold. Wisdom is like that gold from whatever you want to call it, God, the divine, the Most High. I mean, it's endless. But if you want that wisdom, you need to interpret your dreams properly, and that will help you become more conscious. That will help you become more wise and to make thoughtful, long-term decisions. It'll help you make great decisions, and you can apply it to every aspect of life. If you want to have a good business, if you want to meet good people, you need wisdom. Like Warren Buffett, you know him for being wise. He even attributes his success to being wise. He's not that smart. He's just really wise. And his partner, Charlie Munger, is incredibly wise as well, and he will attest to the same thing. He'll say that wisdom reigns. It's the most important thing you can have in life. And if you are wise as a man, people will look up to you. Children will look up to you. It's so important to have wisdom in your life. That's really what I wanted to get at with this dream. It's not so much about the interpretation of the symbols or anything like that. People pay me not necessarily to interpret their dreams, although that is part of my job. What they actually pay me for is to extract the wisdom of their dreams, because it's worth its weight in gold. It's priceless. I mean, you really can't put a price on it. People will pay me a lot of money just to extract that wisdom from their own psychology because they can't do it themselves. I mean, that's how valuable it is. And you need to learn how to do this. You need to learn how to extract that wisdom from your dreams. It's going to guide you throughout life. It's going to help you. So that's all I have for today. You can feel my enthusiasm for this subject because it's so important, and I really care about psychology. I really am. I don't like to say the word passionate, but I really care about it, and I really care about people and their psychology. And I think I just couldn't put into words how important this is, and that it really will help you in life, as it has helped me. And I'm trying to share that without lying or manipulating or cheating, without scamming. I'm just trying to be as honest as I possibly can. I'm not going to get it right every single time, but I'm trying my best, and to do it honestly, because that's what Carl Jung would have wanted. Yeah, I study Carl Jung, so we want to do this as honestly as possible because it's so important. You just don't want to fuck with the unconscious, and lying is a really bad way to do that. So it's important for me to be as honest as possible, particularly as an analytical psychologist. I know there are just so many fake, false prophets, if you want to call it that, out there. I would be skeptical about me as well. Like, you don't want to instantly trust me. You want to be skeptical, and I think it's really healthy. So, commenting on my video, leaving feedback about maybe the content not being correct, I think that's a really healthy thing. And I think it's so important that I don't get it right all the time, because I'm human. I can't possibly know everything. Compared to Carl Jung, I'm like nowhere near that guy. He did 80,000 dreams. I've only done about 1,000, maybe. I'm not comparing myself to him at all. I'm just trying to explain to you that this stuff is hard, but that's precisely why I think it's the right direction, because it's so hard. If you do learn it, it's priceless. Like, I can tell you that it's priceless. It is. The amount of time that you spend on this will last you a lifetime. It's probably the best investment that you can ever make. Speaking of investment, go ahead and check out my app. It does teach you about all the things that I talk about, particularly dreams and dream interpretation. It teaches you about typology and analytical psychology, so you can learn all the concepts of analytical psychology on the app. You can record your dreams and analyze your own dreams on there as well. It teaches you about symbols and gives you some examples of what the symbols are, and I'll show an example on the screen here too. So go ahead and download that if you're interested. I developed that app specifically to help people understand psychology much better, and you could not believe just how powerful it is if you learn analytical psychology on your own. you only need to look up whatever platform you want to go on to see the current state of psychiatry to know what I'm talking about. Okay, anyways, so thank you so much for watching. That's all I have. Go ahead and check out the app if you're interested, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. I do apologize for digressing. Yeah, thank you so much for watching.